We'll hear from an area health professional on the possibility of COVID-19 vaccine booster shots.
It's a busy week for President Biden for a range of big issues. I'm SKYLER Henry at the White House as the administration takes on police reform, climate change, and infrastructure.
How certain foods can impact the quality of your sleep.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
As more people get COVID vaccines, some wonder about the future of possible booster shots. This is KOAM News at 5. Health officials say it's still too early to know for sure what a booster shot schedule may look like, but trials are already underway. Some early data suggest that COVID boosters will be required annually as variants develop.
I think COVID may be a moving target like influenza, in that we will have to continue to adjust as the virus mutates.
Tonight at 6, we're going to hear more on possible booster shots and how local health departments are planning to get them out once they're available. There's also been a lot of confusion when it comes to HIPAA and vaccines. Over the last couple of weeks, many retailers have dropped mask requirements for customers and employees who've been fully vaccinated. Several people believe businesses can't ask if you've been vaccinated, claiming that would be a HIPAA violation. But the Director of Compliance, Quality and Risk Management at Access Family Care says that is not the case.
In reality, anyone can ask someone else, why are you wearing a mask, or why won't you wear a mask, or have you been vaccinated? That doesn't mean that a person has to tell anyone, because we still have a right to not tell our personal information, but it is not a HIPAA violation.
Tonight at 6, we're going to hear whether employers can require their employees to provide proof they've been vaccinated. Checking in with Nick Kelly, we really need an extended dry period if we could get it, Nick.
I know the hell, but the plus side, though, after we had to deal with several days of rain, it's nice to see some peaks of the sun, and skies trying to turn partly sunny from 7th and Rangeline from the east side of Joplin. Looking at the radar network, though, there are a few showers still trying to hold together as we get this evening underway, and I'm also watching a little complex of rain between Bartlesville and Tulsa, but that's all we're dealing with to start this evening out. Mainly a few showers, while any big-time storms continue to develop across western Kansas and eventually down through the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. That will be severe weather, but not heading our way, at least not yet. Temperatures right now sitting in the mid to upper 70s across the board, and a quick look at the evening has us falling through the 70s, upper 60s by 10, down to the mid 60s later on tonight. There will be some more sun in the forecast now, but also rain chances as early as tomorrow. We'll break that down in the forecast here in a bit.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Nick. President Biden today received a briefing from officials at FEMA on the upcoming hurricane season. His visit comes as Congress is likely to miss a couple of legislation deadlines over the next few days on 2 of the president's top issues. Reporter SKYLER Henry has more from the White House.
President Biden visited FEMA headquarters the same day the White House announced he will direct $1 billion to states, communities, and tribal governments for disaster preparation.
We're going to spare no expense, no effort to keep Americans safe and respond to crises when they arise.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says it's expecting an above-normal hurricane season this year, with a likely range of 13 to 20 named storms.
We're going to be prepared. We have to be ready.
This week, President Biden is also facing self-imposed deadlines on 2 key issues: infrastructure and police reform.
Mr. President!
The president will meet privately with members of George Floyd's family at the White House Tuesday, marking the 1-year anniversary of his killing. Congress is not likely to meet the president's calls to reach a deal by Tuesday on the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act.
We're making good progress, hopeful progress, but we still have a lot of work to do.
President Biden also wants to see significant progress on his American Jobs Plan by Memorial Day. Last week, the president gave Republicans a counteroffer, slashing his infrastructure plan from $2.3 to $1.7 trillion.
The ball is in their court. We are awaiting their counterproposal. We would welcome that.
At the heart of the negotiations is defining the scope of the bill.
Senate Republicans say the president's new proposal is still well above what they believe Congress can pass with bipartisan support, though talks with the administration continue. SKYLER Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The White House says the president is signing the Alaska Tourism Restoration Act into law today. The bill will allow cruise ships to return to the state this year by temporarily waiving a requirement that foreign-owned vessels stop in Canada. Canada has banned cruise ships until 2022 because of the pandemic. The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is holding. Israel is now pulling back forces from just outside Gaza. Both sides are claiming victory in the fiercest fighting in years. Thousands in Gaza are homeless after Israeli airstrikes and artillery leveled buildings throughout the city in retaliation for thousands of rockets the militants launched at Israel. The U.S. and other Western countries are demanding an investigation after a passenger jet was forced to make an emergency landing in Belarus, where a journalist and opposition leader was arrested. The Ryanair flight took off from Athens bound for Lithuania. Belarus state media reported that President Alexander Lukashenko himself ordered a fighter jet to escort the aircraft down 2 miles from Lithuanian airspace. In Central Africa, a devastating volcanic eruption has killed at least 15 people. Lava flowed into villages in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, formerly known as Zaire. Thousands of frantic people fled to safety across the border into Rwanda. Still ahead, another product shortage in the pandemic.
Taking a dip in the backyard pool may cost a little more this summer. I'm Michael George with details on the chlorine shortage that has some families ready to try something new.
And next in Health Watch, if you've been having trouble sleeping, it might be because of your diet. The 2 doses of Pfizer BioNTech's vaccine and AstraZeneca's coronavirus vaccine were both highly effective against the newer variants of the virus discovered in India and England. Pfizer's vaccine was at least 88% effective in preventing symptomatic COVID-19 cases. AstraZeneca's shots were 60% effective against the variant found in India. But getting both doses was vital because effectiveness was 50% or less after just one. Patients with irritable bowel syndrome reported fewer symptoms during COVID-19 lockdowns, which is the opposite of what doctors had expected. A study in Argentina found a sharp drop in severe IBS, suggesting staying at home relieved outside stress and gave patients more control over their diet. Millions of Americans have been struggling with disrupted or interrupted sleep during the pandemic. But if you're counting an ever-increasing number of sheep at night, you might want to look at your diet. Reporter Laura Podesta checks the grocery list for foods that may help you get more Z's.
Rise. Hold.
Yoga instructor Bethany Lyons has a lot on her plate. She launched her own company during the pandemic, teaching online classes daily. She says healthy snacking is a must.
I eat raw almonds, I eat roasted almonds, I eat salted, unsalted, any kind of almond that there is.
Those nuts may also be helping her sleep at night.
So you're a deep sleeper. Do you think your diet contributes to that?
100%. I think sleep and our energy and all of it is very holistic, right? So it's like the way we live our entire lives.
Nutrition expert Dr. Nicola Vina says there's a reason people who snack on almonds, walnuts, and pistachios might toss and turn a little less at night.
They have high amounts of magnesium, which has been thought to help improve sleep.
Another surprising sleep aid, tart cherry juice.
It contains a small amount of melatonin, and melatonin is a hormone that we have naturally in our bodies that rises right before we fall asleep.
Michael Tanney says he drinks cherry juice a few times a week after dinner.
If I have it at night, I have no issues falling asleep, which is not always the case with other fruits or juices because of the sugar.
Turmeric, the key ingredient in golden milk, is known for its anti-inflammatory properties, which are associated with good sleep. Alcoholic drinks, which might make you feel sleepy at first, can disrupt your REM cycles. Besides ditching alcohol, experts recommend cutting off caffeine after 4 p.m. and avoiding high-fat or heavy meals before bed. Lyons also prioritizes exercise. She says those good habits help her rest a little easier. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Other lesser-known foods that may hurt your sleep are tomatoes due to their high acidity content. Meat and cheese pizza are also bad because they contain higher levels of the amino acid tyramine, which makes you feel alert. New research finds people who drink lots of milk have lower levels of both good and bad cholesterol. The study in the International Journal of Obesity also shows regular milk drinkers have slightly more body fat but a lower risk of coronary heart disease. Young children who spend more time looking at screens spend less time reading books. No surprise there. A study in the journal Pediatrics tracked thousands of Canadian families. It found 2-year-olds who use electronic devices spend less time reading by age 3, and that in turn leads to greater screen use by the time they're 5. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, the International Monetary Fund puts a price tag on what's needed to increase the global COVID-19 vaccine rollout.
Plus, our rain chances keep on lining up for the rest of the week. Forecast up next. While it was nice to keep things warm as we get this new work week started, we had to deal with rain chances once again, especially during the morning hours on the Kansas side, where we had a good concentration of moisture and a little disturbance running along our upper level ridge that allowed this area of rain to develop. Then the rest of the afternoon was just mainly isolated showers, maybe a random thunderstorm at times. But over the past 6 hours, we really haven't seen a big scattering of rain or thunderstorms. But what we've seen so far in terms of rain hasn't thankfully really amounted to much. 1/10 of an inch of rain on the average, but we see the bigger bullseye in our northwestern counties where amounts estimated between at least 1/2 inch and maybe 1.5 inches. In the meantime, though, we're still looking okay mainly on the radar network, but we do see, we zoom in a little bit tighter, a few showers around Neosho, Pineville, southwestern Monette, and Mount Vernon. And even as we look back toward the west, we note a shower between Grove and Jay, and then another band of rain between Ramona and Manford, the northwestern sides of Tulsa. These are rain showers that we'll continue to track as we go through the evening, but at least in Joplin, not only are you dry, but nice to see some peaks of the sun breaking out as we look along 7th from 7th and Range Line. 77 in Joplin, feels like 79 though, thanks to a dew point sitting in the mid-60s, but the southwest wind is out and about at about 10 miles per hour. Most of us sitting in the mid to upper 70s right now, and once we get past sunset, it's a slow drop off this evening. 74 by 8, 70 by midnight, and eventually we'll have lows dropping back mainly into the mid to upper 60s, most spots around 66. So while we deal with mainly a few showers this evening, we're not going to have to deal with any of this. Developing severe thunderstorms from western Kansas, and finally some getting going as we work down into western parts of Oklahoma. All part of our next cold front on the way in. But before it starts impacting our weather, again, most of this evening up until about midnight, maybe a stray shower or two for a few of you. Otherwise, we're mostly cloudy. But once we hit the morning drive, that's when we'll get a better chance for some scattered thunderstorms as our morning gets going. A mild start, but we'll turn warm again despite a good shot for scattered rain and thunderstorms throughout the course of the afternoon. So as far as your planner goes, we'll start at 66, 73 by noon, afternoon highs around 77 with the south wind during the day at 5 to 15, maybe an occasional gust near 20. We'll start Tuesday evening out with some scattered showers and thunderstorms. These should be strong, but I'm not expecting anything severe. I'm thinking mainly dry to start your Wednesday morning out with lows back in the mid-60s. Then we'll trend back into the lower 80s on Wednesday with another chance for some scattered storms. Those should be strong, but not looking at anything severe. However, with this upper low on Thursday, with our frontal system on the way in, we do have to keep an eye out for strong to severe thunderstorms on Thursday. Then we'll back down to maybe some rain chances Friday, thunderstorms Saturday. Let's just put it this way. We're going to continue with the rain chances through a good portion of the Memorial Day weekend, but we will have pockets of dry time in between it all. With that dry time, we'll go with 77 on Tuesday, 82 Wednesday, 83 Thursday, staying in the 70s overall for the holiday weekend out. And again, dry time to be had, but still thunderstorm chances to keep an eye on.
All right, I know you'll be keeping an eye on those for us.
Absolutely.
Coming up, chlorine tablets are the latest product in short supply because of the pandemic. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Kevin Murphy served in the U.S. Army from 2004 to 2006. The Arcadia, Kansas native was stationed in Iraq, and we salute Sergeant Kevin Murphy, a four-state hero. A proposed price tag to end the pandemic. The International Monetary Fund is calling for another $50 billion to be spent to rev up the global rollout of coronavirus vaccines. The IMF says the additional money would be used to boost COVAX's capacity. COVAX is an international coalition aimed at helping facilitate equitable distribution of vaccines. Moderna strikes a deal to help distribute its vaccine out of the U.S. The company says it inked an agreement with South Korea's Samsung Biologics. The deal will allow the company to offer its vaccine in Asia and other parts of the world beginning in the third quarter of this year. During the pandemic, we've seen shortages of everything from flour and toilet paper to used cars. Well, now there are fears of another shortage that could impact summer fun. Michael George reports.
Pool owners are ready to dive into summer, but a growing number are having trouble finding an essential product.
What do you need today?
A couple things.
Yes.
Chlorine tablets, 3-inch, 2.
Sold out.
Bob Holt is the general manager at AQUAVITA Pools in Pennsylvania and says there are short supplies of chlorine tablets.
This is by far the most challenging season we've ever had. This is the first time we've ever experienced a shortage of product.
The pandemic is part of the problem. Thousands of families stuck at home during the first few months of COVID decided to build a pool. The higher demand is coupled with lower supplies after a fire destroyed this chlorine manufacturing plant in Louisiana last year. Some stores are sold out of tablets, and online prices have doubled on some sites. That has pool maintenance worker Pablo Batista turning to liquid chlorine, which is harder to use but cheaper and in greater supply for now.
The customer, they don't want to spend money.
The chlorine issue has some pool owners looking at alternatives, like saltwater pools.
All salt systems down here.
Some stores are seeing an increasing number of people make the switch to salt systems.
All you need is just bags of salt. You put it in and you're good to go, and you rarely need to refill your pool with salt.
For chlorine users, shortages are expected to continue, and experts believe prices will stay high through the end of the summer. Michael George, CBS News, Congers, New York.
Now, we reached out to several local businesses and found many here are also dealing with the chlorine tablet shortage. Gas prices are holding steady today. According to AAA, the nation's average now stands at just below $3.04 for a gallon of regular. That's down slightly from a week ago when prices spiked due to the Colonial Pipeline shutdown. But the pinch at the pump is expected to increase Memorial Day weekend. A final check of the forecast next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to hear more from area health professionals about possible COVID-19 vaccine booster shots. Plus, how the Joplin Humane Society is trying to reduce overcapacity issues at their shelter. And Monette, Missouri school officials say their football field needs to be replaced after vandals damaged it. Stay with us. CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Rowers this weekend took part in one of the most beloved regattas in Venice, Italy, the Vogalanga. Last year's event was canceled because of the pandemic, but this year was special because the city is celebrating the 1600th anniversary of its foundation. The modern version of the 30-kilometer non-competitive rowing marathon was created in 1974 to raise awareness of the problem of waves affecting the lagoon city. However, this year, due to the coronavirus, it was cut short to 20 kilometers long. We're not going to be rowing through the streets of the 4 states exactly, but it is too wet out there, Nick.
And the rain chances will just keep continuing, Dal. Maybe a few showers for sun this evening, but the rain chances pick up tomorrow morning and thunderstorms during the day tomorrow. Highs here 77, 82 and 83 for Wednesday and Thursday. We'll watch for maybe some severe weather on Thursday, but the rain chances want to keep on going through the holiday weekend ahead of us.
Thanks, Nick, and thank you for joining us. CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.